While some of these siblings were cool on the pitch, the others absolutely hated each other. Some even went as far as threatening to injure their brothers. These are the 20 siblings you probably didn't even know existed. And I'd kick it off with a duo causing a sibling rivalry in France. Marcus and Kefren Thuram. Their surname rings a familiar bell in France, and that's because their dad was the legendary Lilian Thuram, who won the World Cup for France in 1998 and the Serie A with Italian giants Juventus. Kefren and Marcus decided to follow in their dad's footsteps and decided to go pro. After starting their journeys in different paths, Marcus eventually made a name for himself at Borussia Mönchengladbach, while Kefren turned out for OGC 9. But the dynamic all changed when Marcus signed for Inter Milan last season, and a few months back, Kefren signed for Juve. Both brothers will now be competing against each other for the Serie A title at two of the biggest clubs in the country. Pretty sure I know which side Lilian's on. He looked excited when Kefren joined Juve. These two make the whole sibling thing look cool. Diego and Gabriel Milito? They didn't. Same dad, same country, but they both had different paths. While they both represented Argentina at an international level, things between the two were always heated when it came to playing for their clubs. It all peaked in 2010 when Diego was playing for Inter Milan and Gabriel played for Barca. In the Champions League match against each other, Gabriel was going so hard against his brother that he almost injured him. The crazy thing is, this had been going on way back. In 2003, while Diego was on the books of Racing Club, Gabriel played for Independiente. And anytime the two clashed, they threw the sibling love aside and went straight at it. The matches between both of them were so heated that their parents and partners had reportedly left games early because they couldn't stand to see the two of them going so hard on each other. Jeez. You'd think they didn't go on play dates or something growing up. Yet somehow, they both managed to represent their country, Argentina, and keep the relationship at a respectable level, something the Alcantara brothers would never be able to. Despite the love they've got for each other, they both went separate ways. Thiago and Rafinha Alcantara. Their dad, Mazinho, was a former professional footballer and Brazilian who was part of the 1994 World Cup winning team. And their mom, Valeria, used to be a former volleyball player. The sporting genes definitely ran in the family. Both brothers wanted to be like their dad, and they took the game seriously and decided to pursue careers out of it. Thiago was born in Italy, but moved to Spain when he was 14. And while Rafinha was born in Brazil but followed his brother with the plan for both of them to join Barcelona's youth team setup, La Masia. At La Masia, the talent sent them apart, starting with Thiago. He became so good that the Spanish underage groups called him to come play for them, and he accepted it. In total, he made 42 appearances from the under-16s to the under-21s, including scoring a hat-trick in the under-21 European Championship finals of 2013. And soon after, he'd made his choice. He was going to play for Spain. Rafinha, on the other hand, always wanted Brazil and played for the Seleção. It doesn't mean the two of them hate each other because of it. Far from that. They're cool, but I can't say the same about the Boateng brothers though. Jerome and Kevin Prince's Boateng relationship is quite simply confusing. I have cut ties with my brother. I distanced myself from Jerome a long time ago. This was Kevin Prince Boateng speaking about his brother after Jerome was accused of assaulting his partner back in 2023. Confusing because at the start they managed to get along. They were born to the same father but had different moms, yet still managed to play for the same team growing up, Hertha Berlin, before their careers took them on different paths. Jerome became a household name at Bayern Munich and one of the best center backs of the 2010s, winning the World Cup with Germany in 2014 and the treble in 2013, while Kevin Prince, on the other hand, had a tipsy-turvy career. He played for teams like AC Milan and Barcelona, but attitude problems got him kicked out of the same World Cup his brother won in 2014. They've made it clear they don't talk now. Well, at least Kevin Prince has, and that's just sad, man. Away from all of that sad stuff now, and up next is two dudes who became a nightmare for Premier League officials. Rafael and Fabio da Silva, Manchester United's twin fullbacks that Premier League referees couldn't tell the difference. They're identical twins, and I'm just saying there's every possibility Sir Alex could have switched one for the other back in the day and no one would have noticed. They both arrived in Manchester in 2008 as 18-year-old twins, and from that point on, the two of them became inseparable. The relationship at United eventually ended in 2011 when Fabio left United to join Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Cardiff City. While he left, Rafael raked up more appearances for United and was solid until he left the team in 2015. Still find it super hard to spot the difference between the two. If not for the player names on the back of jerseys, it would have been a serious problem anytime they stepped on the pitch. I'd bet that you didn't know these next duo are siblings as well. Gianluigi Donnarumma and Antonio Donnarumma, and their story is a love. Don't get the wrong idea. Anyways, when Antonio signed for AC Milan in 2006, his younger brother Gianluigi automatically fell in love with the club. He wanted to follow in his brother's footsteps. Unfortunately though, Antonio didn't make the cut at Milan, and after loan spells to Genoa and a move to Greece, he was out. In his place, Gianluigi became a breakout star of the team at just 16 years old, and he hasn't looked back since. Either way, the two of them can be proud of their accomplishments. Gianluigi has gone on to win the Euros, making decisive saves in the penalty shootout final 3 years ago, and currently plays for one of the biggest teams in the world, PSG. Antonio, meanwhile, is on the books of Torino, now 34. He's looking to enjoy his career and make the best out of it while he can. Seems the bond between Italian brothers is as thick as ever. Heck, it even got two brothers playing on opposite sides and still loving each other. I'd bet you didn't know there were two Cannavaros. While Fabio went on to win the World Cup with Italy in 2006, join Real Madrid in the same year, and crown it up by winning the Ballon d'Or, his younger brother Paolo also enjoyed a decent amount of success. On his part, Paolo became a mainstay at Napoli, leading the club as captain with over 278 appearances as they won the Coppa Italia in 2012. He'd previously helped Napoli gain promotion back to the top flight and was a rock in defense before joining Sassuolo and eventually retiring in 2017. On the national team front, though, there was only one winner. Fabio was captain of the Italian team that won the World Cup in 2006, while Paolo never even got capped for the Azzurri. Still, this never caused an issue between them, and if anything, they'd rather remember the days they spent playing together back in Parma. It's a pretty common theme for one half of the footballing family to enjoy success and the other half to have a decent career. Happened in Germany too. The German sniper's recent retirement revealed he's got a brother. Toni Kroos and Felix Kroos. It's easy to point out who the more famous of the two was. Toni Kroos did everything and won everything he could at club level and almost at national level. A World Cup title, 5 Championship League titles, 4 La Liga titles. The man was a star, but he also had a brother. Toni Kroos and his brother Felix Kroos played together at the youth level for Hansa Rostock. But while Toni Kroos enjoyed unrivaled success with the likes of Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, Felix Kroos had a modest career. Hold on a bit, I just realized something. You haven't subscribed to Mr. Football yet. Come on, man, all you gotta do is hit that button and you're in. It's that simple. Felix turned out for Werder Bremen before his most recent spell saw him play at Union Berlin. And after another spell at Eintracht Braunschweig, Felix retired in 2021 to take up a coaching role at Union Berlin. Kroos retired this summer, and his brother was quick to heal the praise on him for a legendary career. The two of them get along just fine and are pretty close too. I love it when two brothers get along and play the game all right. Over to England now, and it's a duo that made a name for themselves in the Premier League. Rio and Anton Ferdinand. They both started at West Ham. Rio made the breakthrough first. He became an exciting prospect, making his debut for the first team and helping West Ham to a league-high 5th place, finishing in the 1998-1999 season. And by the following campaign, he was gone on a deal that saw him become the most expensive defender in the world for $18 million. This became Anton's chance to shine at the club, free from the pressures of having to outperform his older brother, and he did all right too. He guided West Ham back to promotion in the Premier League and even became a regular in the Three Lions under-21 setup. But ultimately, it was Rio who had the better career. Became captain of the United team that won the Champions League in 2008 and back-to-back-to-back Premier League titles. The man had an amazing career. Anton, on the other hand, not so much. The two get along still, that older brother-sibling love. They even had a cousin, Le Ferdinand, who was a bagsman back in his day. Next up, it's another set of twins, only this time you probably didn't know they were twins. Jurien and Quentin Timber. Jurien Timber springs to mind first. Last season, he joined Arsenal from Ajax in a bid to make the Gunners strong. But unfortunately, in the Community Shield season opener versus Manchester City, Jurien tore his ACL and was sidelined for months. So it came as a surprise to see another Timber playing out in the Netherlands. And that's when the world found out Jurien was a twin. Quentin currently plays for Feyenoord, having played for Ajax and Utrecht back in the day. And he's making a name for himself too. He's even been capped by the national team before, just like his twin brother Jurien. The sporting genes run in the family. They've also got a brother, Dylan, who's a pro as well. It's hard to tell the difference between the two once you've seen it. The same thing applies to the Amrabat brothers, who put on a show at the World Cup. At the 2022 World Cup, Morocco put on a show and stunned the whole world. And a big reason for that was thanks to the performances of Sofiane Amrabat in midfield. He was like a workhorse putting in a proper shift. The thing is, to the Moroccan fans at least, the name Amrabat wasn't an unfamiliar one in World Cup terms. They'd seen it before, the older version too. And that's because at the 2018 World Cup, Sofiane's older brother, Nordin, was also part of the team. They had the Amrabats linking up at the World Cup. Sofiane's career has taken an upward trajectory since that moment. He's played for Fiorentina and Manchester United, while Nordin is currently seeing out the rest of his playing career at Greek outfit AEK Athens. The two of them made a name for themselves playing for Morocco at the highest levels, just like the Neville brothers too, Gary and Phil. They both broke out at Manchester United as part of the famous class of 1992, and they were decent fullbacks too. Together, they both achieved a lot at Manchester United, winning multiple Premier League trophies along the way, and that treble in 1999. But while Gary further went on to establish himself as a core member of the first team, Phil wanted better playing opportunities. So he went over to Everton, and he was more than a regular starter. Phil played over 300 games for the Toffees, and even got named club captain before retiring in 2013. And the path he took, well, it was something. A coaching spell at Valencia, that epic piece of documentary on the Barcelona vs Chelsea game in 2012. And now, working as a pundit. Gary Neville's been everywhere. Phil, on the other hand, ventured into coaching and had spells in the United States coaching the likes of Inter Miami. He's currently the coach of MLS side Portland Timbers, done something great with his life after professional football. Gary's on pundit duty every week. The two of them made it big for both Manchester United and England. They played for the national team over 140 times. And speaking of national team football, here are two brothers who've continued a family legacy down in Africa and cemented their status as legends in the process. Andre and Jordan Ayew. They're both sons of Abedi Pele, a Ghanaian legend back in the day. And while both have varying degrees of success, with Andre playing for Marseille in League One, West Ham and Swansea City in the Premier League, while Jordan also played for Marseille and Swansea, Crystal Palace, and now Leicester City. The two of them have really made their mark on the national team. The 2024 African Cup of Nations finals in January was the sixth time they'd be representing the Black Stars of Ghana at a major tournament. They go way back. They've been together in the national team setup for 13 years now, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. Jordan insists there's always happiness anytime he gets to play alongside his brother. In total, they've played alongside each other over 169 times for Ghana, Marseille, and Swansea. The 169 games together with can't get away from each other even if they tried. Still in Africa, it's down to number 2 now. And these two brothers went all the way for their country and succeeded both individually and collectively at the biggest European clubs too. Yaya and Kolo Toure. Actually, it's the other way around. Kolo's the older brother and joined Arsenal in 2002 after passing a trial at the Gunners. Yaya, on the other hand, came to Europe and joined Beveren in 2001 in the Belgian Pro League, before playing for the likes of Olympiacos and Monaco. The brothers got reunited at Manchester City. Kolo Toure joined the Citizens in 2008 off the back of winning the Premier League and getting to a Champions League final with Arsenal, while Yaya joined the club in 2010 after having done a treble with Barcelona the season before. Together at City, they've helped the club win the Premier League for the first time in 44 years in 2012. But while Yaya went on to become a City legend, Kolo decided to take a different path. That doesn't mean he wasn't successful at it, though. He joined Liverpool in 2015 and helped the club reach the final of the Europa League the following year. 2015 was a special year for both Yaya and Kolo Toure. They won the African Cup of Nations as brothers for the first time, a remarkable feat. With the careers they've had, it's safe to say they've succeeded at the various levels too. Yaya's got the most trophies with 18 to Kolo's 12, but it doesn't count for much because that AFCON triumph in 2015 meant the world to them. Now guys, it's down to the last set of bros, and these two are currently ripping it up in the Spanish top flight. Inaki and Nico Williams, Athletic Club's deadly sibling duo up top. Inaki and Nico are pioneers, and the story kicks off with Inaki. He paved the way for his brother to become the next generation star he is today. Inaki was born in the Basque region of Spain after both his parents fled Ghana barefoot in search of better living conditions. The journey to the top was tough. Their parents had to work menial jobs to get by. But Inaki on his path was dedicated to the cause of making sure he succeeded as a pro to help his family. And that dedication rubbed off on Nico too. By 2014, Inaki had done it. He'd made his debut for Bilbao. And that incredible record of playing 251 consecutive games for Bilbao showed just how much he was determined to keep going. After bursting into this scene last year, Nico immediately became recognized as a global star, and rightly so too. He's chosen to represent Spain as opposed to his brother's choice of Ghana, and it was a wise choice too. Nico scored the opening goal in the final of the Euros a few months back and ultimately helped Spain win the competition. While they've chosen different countries, they remain together at Bilbao. Nico turned down a huge proposal from Barcelona last summer to remain at the club, and he's set to continue making waves with his brother at Bilbao. Crazy to think how it could have both been different for them. The links they've got to another club in London, Chelsea. Their dad Felix moved to London to work at Stamford Bridge in search of better living conditions in 2014, while Nico also rejected a move to Chelsea this summer. Those Chelsea dudes will stop at nothing when it comes to signing young talent. But there's a reason for that, and you can find out why by clicking the next video to see the real reason why Chelsea won't stop signing young players.